In the country of Hinomoto, the farmers are busy with their jobs when they encounter a demon appearing from the sky and reaching the ground. A battle takes place between the samurai and the demons, who are called Oni, and Oni becomes victorious. Years later, in the town of Tatsuyama, Musashi, a young kid, is shown to be mining at a miner training school, where he is considered the best in the class. They are also taught that samurai are the greatest evil, but Musashi says to himself that's not true. He remembers his young childhood days as his father telling him that samurai were the ones who stood up against the demon Onus. After school, he meets his friend Kojiro. Musashi tells Kojiro that he dug all these years of training into that miner school only to train himself to fight against the Onus alongside Kojiro. Kojiro asks if he is even serious about combating Onus, as he wants to be accepted by society. Musashi runs away, saying he will prove it to him. Kojiro, the son of a samurai who still believes in samurai practices, was shunned by the entire town after they started believing that samurai are the evil and Oni are the saviors. The next day, the students are taken to a minefield, but they are about to meet their Oni masters. They are surprised to see that the cat-like Oni masters treat the students as slaves and also eat them up when they are unhappy with their work. Musashi comes forward and says he knew that Oni masters were evil and was about to slay one, but he realizes that his weapon was taken away from him before he entered there. Now that he has challenged the Oni master, angry and growling, Musashi realizes that there is an axe falling on the ground of a fellow worker. He runs for it and grabs it. Meanwhile, Kojiro comes across Musashi's notebook, which he left behind, and learns that Musashi was discreetly expertising his fighting tactics at the mine school. Musashi is badly beaten, but he doesn't give up. As he's about to be killed by the monster, when he says that he has always dreamt of becoming a samurai, Kojiro comes to his rescue with his motorbike. The two team up with their weapons against the monsters. The Oni master runs towards Musashi as he uses his years of training with the axe and slices the demon in half. Both of them start killing the monsters with their weapons. A beam of red light hits the sky, and they wonder what it is and learn that a bigger Oni is arriving. As the other workers and students run for safety, they kill the remaining Onus and await the big boss to show up. Musashi and Kojiro are busy killing the Onus, and Musashi is glad he is keeping the promise he made to Kojiro. But Kojiro says he is losing interest in samurai life. Musashi ensures he will soon get the hang of it. Through the red beam of light, they face a bird-like Kishin who is sitting idle. Musashi, disappointed that it is small, chops the Kishin in half. To their disbelief, the Kishin quickly heals itself. As the Oni devotees bring it some food, the Kishin eats and transforms into a huge demon monster called the Great Kishin. The Great Kishin, as the devotees say, has risen in his true form after 5 years. The Kishin knocks down both Kojiro and Musashi. The Kishin then tries to take Kojiro's katana away from him. The locals yell at him to let it go, and as the Great Kishin eats blades, the Great Kishin starts beating Kojiro badly while trying to snatch away his katana. While being beaten, he remembers how people treated him when he was a kid carrying around the katana. His father tells him not to be ashamed of his katana because it is a symbol of a samurai's honor. As Kojiro refuses to let it go, the Kishin eventually grabs the blade and consumes it. However, Musashi charges in carrying his own axe and begins to move upward, toward his gut. To Kishin's surprise, he begins to dig into its gut. Apparently killing the Kishin, he successfully digs out and swims inside its guts to retrieve Kojiro's katana. After giving Musashi his gratitude, Kojiro resolves to carry out their childhood goal of killing every last Oni as they celebrate their first success. Suddenly, a troop of flying motorbike-riding samurai appears. Naotora Takada, the group's leader, requests that the two stop Kishin hunting and leave it to the experts. Their squad goes by the name Takada Band. The Great Kishin begins to mend itself once more in the meantime. Naotora tells Musashi to stop, but he advances towards the Great Kishin, determined to kill it and take home his first prize. When Naotora sees Musashi sprinting in the direction of the Great Kishin from a distance, he is impressed by Musashi's bravery. As Musashi is rushing towards Kishin with his full force, Kojiro is afraid for his safety because of Kishin's flames. Naotora stops Musashi from attacking anymore, telling him he is not experienced enough to stop the Kishin and to give up on Kishin hunting, detaining him. The Takada band holds the great Kishin captive while they plan to attack him with their full force. Meanwhile, Musashi breaks free of the band's captivity, runs towards the Kishin, and hits the ground to create a bigger hole where the Kishin would sink. But it causes a landslide just as the Takada band is about to start the coordinated attack and misses the Kishin. Kojiro lets Musashi know that the horn on Kishin's stomach is his weakness and that he should attack it. Musashi, as instructed, attacks it, but Naotora walks in and chops the horn, killing the Kishin, who falls and turns into dust. The samurai drew their swords, absorbing the Kishin's dust. Everyone hails Naotora as the hero for killing the Kishin. Musashi is upset that he couldn't finish him off by losing his first prize. The Takada band promises to get rid of every Oni and keep humans safe. They also tie up the preachers, who are Oni devotees. Kojiro is happy to see the samurai band, as his father used to tell stories about them. But Musashi can't stand them anymore, and vents out at Naotora for stepping in and stealing his first major kill. Everyone makes fun of Musashi, but Naotora gifts Musashi a jewel, and the group laughs at him and calls that a consolation prize. Musashi is even more disappointed and angry. Back at their place, they notice a symbol on the jewel, and on investigation, they unravel that the jewel is actually a kaleidoscope utilized as a map for sensing the Oni worldwide. They also learn that whoever slays the mighty Kishin will rule Hinamoto country. Musashi runs to the town and affirms to Naotora that he'll kill all the Kishins and unify the country. Naotora wishes him luck and leaves. Musashi and Kojiro are all ready and have set off on Kojiro's bike. Musashi's fellow students wish them luck as they ride towards the outside world to fulfill their mission. They are excited about their journey, as they will be fighting Oni together, and they promise that they will never fight. But they end up spending days now without any hunting and are running out of food. Soon they start to quarrel as Musashi complains to Kojiro for not bringing enough food, and Kojiro calls him a brat. Kojiro starts fishing and catches enough, but Musashi can't. As Musashi goes to Kojiro after he can't catch any fish, he sees Kojiro lying on the ground, hurt, as Musashi encounters a girl who sneakily attacks Musashi and asks him to hand over whatever he has. They start fighting, overpowering each other. When she realizes she cannot beat him, she starts to seduce him to get the upper hand, but fails. She brings out her weapons, but after hearing an alarm, she runs away with Kojiro's bike. She meets a lord, apologizes for being late, and says she did whatever she was instructed to do to steal Kojiro's bike. She hugs the lord, who is the captain of the Kosameda band. The duo catches up to the Kosameda band's fortress and gets inside. They are greeted by the girl who stole their bike, who introduces herself as Tsugumi and asks them to follow her. They are surprised to find that an entire town lives inside the fortress. The people are living happily, doing their daily livelihood work. She also lets Musashi know that she doesn't have her own family here, as her sister was a samurai killed by an Oni. The captain of the Kosameda band invites the duo to the feast, acknowledging them as hunters and proposing that they join them and share the kitetsu. When they are bewildered by hearing the word for the first time, the lord says they are useless and asks Tsugumi to tie them up. As she locks them up, she is scolded by the captain for bringing them the wrong samurai. They plan to organize a lure for the Oni to come to their fortress to get kitetsu, a plan that will also endanger the town people. Tsugumi shows up to the duo in their prison, telling them that kitetsu is the iron dust that comes from when an Oni dies. She also lets them know that a horde of Oni is coming towards the town. Tsugumi is advised by Musashi to speak up for herself against the captain, but she is unsure of what to do and flees in tears. Musashi and Kojiro successfully escape from the prison, thanks to Kojiro fishing for the keys to the prison lock. As they run away, they spot a horde of Oni coming towards the town. The captain tells Tsugumi to hand over swords to every villager to prepare them for the battle. But she lets him know that she doesn't agree with his decision. He gets angry and says he is disappointed that his own daughter is against his decision and outcasts her away outside the castle. She pleads, but he says she can only live if she obeys him. But she stands up for herself, saying she will save the townspeople. As she is in her bedroom remembering what her sister had to face, she decides to save the townsfolk against Hideo's orders. Kojiro and Musashi comes barging on their bike, looking for their weapons. She says them not to defy Hideo's orders and that she is weak and useless without Hideo. Musashi also uplifts Tsugumi's spirit by telling her that she isn't weak as she defeated Kojiro in a fight and is knowledgeable about the Oni. She leaves with them to defeat the Oni. Hideo, the captain, orders every townsfolk to pick up a sword and battle the approaching Oni. As they are afraid, Tsugumi stands up against Hideo, throwing some smoke bombs, saying it is wrong for townsfolk who are not experienced in fighting to go to a war. Hideo says any deserters will be executed, but Kojiro and Musashi knock out every guard while hiding in the smoke and ask the people to run for their safety. But Hideo keeps yelling that defying him would mean they would be killed. Seeing no way out, Tsugumi decides to tackle Hideo. As Musashi and Kojiro are busy tackling the guards, Hideo and Tsugumi engage in a fight, with Hideo having the upper hand. Tsugumi receives a good amount of beating from Hideo, who keeps criticizing Tsugumi, saying that she can't win against him and is useless. But she refuses to stay down, stands up, saying she will choose her own path, and brings out her batons. A long fight ensues as Hideo and Tsugumi use their full force against each other, but ultimately, Tsugumi defeats Hideo. The scared townsfolk, meanwhile, are running outside the fortress for their safety, as the Oni are now inside the castle. As Tsugumi is about to be swarmed by the hordes of Oni, Musashi and Kojiro come for her and Hideo's rescue. The town is completely ruined, but the townsfolk are happy they are alive and start restoring their town. They are thankful to Musashi and Kojiro and ask them to take Tsugumi away from there. A wise old lady tells them that she needs to go away from Lord Hideo, or else she will be manipulated again. Tsugumi doesn't wish to go as she is attached to that place. She has memories of her sister in that place. As the night passes by, she shares her memories with Musashi, and he too lets out his own childhood memories. The next morning, Tsugumi bids goodbye to the townsfolk and leaves the town with the duo. As they are on their way to hunt for more Oni through the kaleidoscope, Musashi points out a place where he could see some Oni energy. They take a rest for a while, and Tsugumi starts to flirt with Musashi inappropriately, which infuriates Kojiro. But both are uninterested in Tsugumi, as Musashi likes older women and Kojiro has never had any romantic relationships. But she clarifies that she hasn't had any contact with the outside world and wants to be friends with them. Both of them replies that they are her friends. While they are sleeping, Musashi wakes up to a noise, finding a blue-horned Oni eating Kojiro's katana. As he chases the Oni, he realizes the Oni is much more powerful than he thought. He comes across a place with thousands of swords, where the Oni led. He faces a silver-haired guy who is surrounded by Kitetsu blades. Musashi grabs one of the Kitetsu blades and experiences immense power, and for some seconds, black spikes come out of him. He successfully slays the Oni, breaking it into pieces. The guy watches this amusedly when a girl, calling him Master, arrives to take him away. They both leave, admiring Musashi's strength. Kojiro and Tsugumi come searching for Musashi, but when he tells them about his encounter with the guy he just met, he sees both of them have disappeared with all the Kitetsu blades, except Kojiro's katana. Tsugumi lets them know that without Kitetsu blades, they can't defeat Oni, as their horns are unbreakable with ordinary swords. They decide to go buy Kitetsu blades for themselves in the marketplace. Musashi and Tsugumi are excited for their shopping spree, but Kojiro remembers they don't have any money. A huge bid for Kitetsu blades is taking place in the market. Musashi is overwhelmed by seeing so many samurai in the marketplace. Tsugumi lets him know that the best Kitetsu blade auction takes place at the end of the day, so they wait. They eat at a restaurant, and a samurai passing by asks them their band's name, but Kojiro doesn't have an answer. They discuss their band when Tsugumi suggests Kojiro should be the captain of their samurai band. After the Kitetsu blade auction starts, Musashi gets puzzled by all the beautiful blades and starts wondering which one he should get. He meets a lady, Mitsuru, head of the Ryuzoji band, and instantly takes a liking to her. She says that the selection goes by the old rite of choosing a blade. She asks them to select one. Both Tsugumi and Kojiro chose one for themselves. Mitsuru asks them to lift them and an aura surrounds them. She explains that they are going through the sword's trial and now the sword will select them. And if by trial they are a true samurai, they will become the owners of the blades. Musashi lifts his sword, and the trial takes him to a black space. Kojiro too lifts his sword, is taken to that black space, and passes his trial, saying the sword became a part of his body. But he sees different colorful auras around the samurai who are going through the trial. Mitsuru explains to him that every samurai has their own color. Kojiro gets blue color. They turn towards Musashi and see he is still in the trial where he faces his childhood traumas. He senses a white spirit in the form of a girl who hugs him, and it suddenly turns into a big giant. The others are surprised to find out that Musashi has rocks coming out of him for a fraction of seconds and disappearing. Mitsuru says that he is rejected by the Kitetsu blade as he has a black aura and can never wield a Kitetsu blade. He is upset about being rejected and that he can't hunt Oni. Kojiro and Tsugumi join him, where Musashi learns that Tsugumi too passed the trial. Suddenly, a huge bull like Kishin drops in front of them, along with some more. A guard lets the marketplace know of their arrival, and Musashi is scared for the first time of an Oni. As the Oni with his horn is about to kill Musashi, Kojiro slices its horn. Kojiro saves a woman and her child by killing some more Oni in the marketplace. Musashi sees every samurai with Kitetsu blades slaying the Oni and everyone praising and thanking Kojiro. As every samurai is asked to go to the mountaintop, an upset Musashi asks Kojiro and Tsugumi to go ahead. While he is still lost in his thoughts about how to fight without a Kitetsu blade, he remembers using one before. The silver guy approaches him, saying he saw his trial and revealing that he too has the black aura. He asks Musashi to join him. The silver-haired guy, known as Shirou, shows the black stone coming from him too. He cries, saying he has been looking for him for too long, but clarifies that he is talking to the black stones inside him. Musashi asks if there's a way he can get any stronger, to which Shirou says he has to accept the black aura within him. He showcases his power by cutting a square on the ground, causing a huge landslide, and then cutting the hill above them. He gives a blade to Musashi to go through the trial and become one with the sword. Realizing Shirou wants him to become a sword himself, he refuses. Shirou says not to worry about being alone as he will turn his friends into swords too, pushing Musashi into the pit he caused along with a Kitetsu blade. Meanwhile, Tsugumi asks Kojiro about Musashi's family and where he inherited the aura. Kojiro says Musashi belongs to a farmer family, and Kojiro himself was the son of a samurai who was shunned by the whole town. But when they were kids, Musashi, impressed by Kojiro's skills, befriended him. They became best friends, and Musashi's parents became sick and died later. Shirou tells his acquaintance Nanao that the obsidian goddess is inside Musashi, and his plan is to use him after he becomes a raw material for his new weapon. Musashi, on the other hand, keeps falling into the pit but manages to catch the blade and carve alongside the pit. As more black stones come out from him while he is holding the Kitetsu blade, he clings onto it. He decides to go up, but a lady's voice coming inside from him surprising him, and he falls into the lava. When he wakes up, the white spirit greets him and asks him to stay with her. He finds himself imprisoned inside a glass cage as the spirit shows him his childhood traumas once more, including how he lost his parents in an epidemic. Due to his father's different opinions about samurai, Musashi was shunned by his neighbors and family. He is asked to sever ties with people like Kojiro and his father when he begs his relatives to take him in. He is beaten by his own people and is left alone. He craves for people to see him and is asked to throw rocks at Kojiro's father, Jisai. Musashi, out of helplessness, throws the rock and berates Kojiro's father. The obsidian goddess reminds him of what he did that day to be accepted in society, and he can never wield a Kitetsu blade, breaking his morals as he fully turns into the Black Rock. The group of samurai reaches the mountaintop to be shocked by a huge headless Kishin sitting there, bleeding. As they look at the headless Kishin, they wonder if it is alive or dead. Tsugumi points out that it's alive, or else it would have been turned into dust. Kojiro says the horn must have been on its head, and Shirou appears there, saying he is right. As he is surrounded by the samurai pointing their blades at him, he, with one blow, kills the samurai. All the samurai team up to fight Shirou, but they fail as he slays them all. He tells Kojiro that Musashi has been turned into a Kitetsu blade. Soon he will join him too. Meanwhile, Musashi has turned into a rock when suddenly a green beam of light comes to his rescue. As he is pulled up, he sees that it's Nanao who accidentally rescued him. She thought he had already turned into rock. He thanks Nanao for saving him and runs to the mountaintop to save his friends. He also remembers the day he threw the rock at Kojiro's father. He also apologized to him and was forgiven by him. He also takes him in and raises him, teaching him the ways of the samurai. Shirou causes a massacre at the mountaintop, slashing all the samurai while some run for their lives to save themselves. As Shirou is hunting for Kojiro, he tries to run to the mountaintop, giving others a chance to escape. Shirou knocks down Kojiro and grabs him by the face. He is about to be killed, but stops when he sees Musashi. He is wielding a Kitetsu blade as he comes to their rescue. Nanao, too, arrives at the mountaintop, explaining to Shirou that she pulled him out too soon before he could completely turn into the Black Rock. But Shirou says not to worry, as the Obsidian Goddess has not fully accepted him yet, and if they kill him, they can move forward with their plan. Musashi tells Kojiro that they will fight together the samurai way, and the three prepare to fight. Nanao uses her powerful sword, which evolves into 7 flying swords which attack the trio. They avoid her attacks. Musashi fails to defeat Nanao, and they realize that they have to smash her 7 swords. Kojiro comes up with a plan. Shirou stands and sees Nanao defeat the band as they come up with a plan. They split up, and Nanao whips 2 of her swords towards Musashi, but Tsugumi, to her surprise, holds the blades with her Kitetsu blade. She knew Nanao would go either after Musashi or Kojiro, but not Tsugumi, giving her an opportunity to strike. Musashi breaks Nanao's sword, leaving her with 6 swords. She still wants to defeat them, but Shirou steps in and shuns her away. Shirou channels his whole power through his blade, creating a ring around his sword and swings it. Nothing happens to them until they realize he cut the mountaintop and reversed it. Many samurai fall to their deaths, but many, along with the trio, hang onto their swords, pierced on the ground above them. Shirou mercilessly makes them fall for their deaths. But suddenly, everything freezes, and Musashi is confronted by the Obsidian Goddess, who lets him know that they want her. The Obsidian Goddess says that she can only save him, but he turns down as he doesn't want Kojiro and Tsugumi to die. His biggest fear is being left alone. The Obsidian Goddess says that's the reason she chose him, trusts him with her power, and resumes the time. Shirou notices that his energy from the sword is being absorbed by large black rocks. The Obsidian Goddess, who now possesses Musashi's body, puts the mountaintop back together again, saving every samurai, including Kojiro and Tsugumi. She starts attacking both Shirou and Nanao, as she says the one with the black aura can draw and repel any power from any Kitetsu blade. Nanao attacks her but is repelled. Shirou takes back his sword as Kojiro wonders if Musashi has become indomitable. But she lets Kojiro know that her power fades in the real world and needs to go back inside Musashi, making him vulnerable again. She asks Kojiro to stay by his side. Shirou asks Musashi to join them, but the Obsidian Goddess rejects his offer and starts drawing energy from other samurai's Kitetsu blades. Musashi learns from the Obsidian Goddess that she will remain inside him and that he must live to finish what she and Jisai, Kojiro's father, started. Before he could learn any more about him, she went on to show her true powers in the outside world. Before leaving the outside world, the Obsidian Goddess draws energy from every Kitetsu blades around her and attacks Shirou and Nayona. Musashi gains consciousness as Kojiro and Tsugumi come and hug him, glad that he is fine and they won the fight. Tsugumi notices a crack in Musashi's sword. to which Mitsuru says the Kitetsu blade cracks when they are charged with more energy than it can hold. The crack means Musashi has immense power in him. The other samurai are stunned to find out that the place where the headless Kishin was sitting is now gone, leaving a pit. It was Shirou and Nanao who escaped with the Kishin's body. Samurai mourn the deaths of their loved ones together, caused by Shirou, as Tsugumi also remembers that the blade she carries belongs to her late sister. They reside at Mitsuru's place for the night, and Musashi requests something from her. The following morning, Musashi is ready for his trial again, this time in front of every samurai present. He tries to lift the sword he chose before and remembers the teachings of Kojiro's father and lifts up the sword. This time, the aura around him turns red with no black stones, which is said to be rare and powerful, and he passes the trial. Tsugumi notes that red symbolizes the rare and powerful power, but blue is common. Musashi asks Kojiro after the trial if he saw anyone from his past, but Kojiro says he saw no one. Musashi lets him know that he saw Kojiro's father and that there might be some connection between the obsidian goddess and his father. Shirou and Nanao also talk about how it was Jisai who had the obsidian goddess in himself before she left his body. Nanao too tells Shirou that Jisai had the obsidian goddess in him, but if Musashi has it in him, it must be for some reason. Every samurai is leaving, and Kojiro still thinks about his dad, but moves on, bringing a map of Hinamoto to the group with more food. Kojiro says they should move east, to which they all agree. As they move through a marshland, they wonder if they are lost. Musashi says he wants to learn to drive the bike and starts learning, while Kojiro and Tsugumi hold onto the bike for him. As he turns around to look at them, he sees that his bike is actually held by an octopus Oni, who has grabbed both Tsugumi and Kojiro. Musashi draws his Kitetsu blade and finds its horn. With barely any effort, he breaks the horns, turning the Oni into dust. Tsugumi and Kojiro cut their ties, and they find someone else tied too. Musashi opens up the ties to see a young girl. She wakes up and thanks Musashi. Both Musashi and Kojiro are charmed by her beauty, much to Tsugumi's annoyance. She is called Princess by her attendant, who is looking for her. He lets them know that she is Michiru, the daughter of Lord Nobumitsu, who is the captain of the Sarawatari band. They are given a lift by the attendant, but both Kojiro and Musashi wonder why the princess looks so lost and unattentive. Musashi tries to talk to her but doesn't succeed. The roads get rugged, and both Musashi and Michiru fall off the cliff. Michiru holds Musashi and draws her blade, which operates as an umbrella too. As they float, Musashi learns that she has never had a conversation and is extremely shy. They notice they are going towards the east, which is a dark place where they see something rock-like moving. She says it might be the first Oni to appear in Hinamoto. They finally meet with the group, and she bids her farewell. Kojiro rolls out his father's scroll to see if they can get more information about the Black Oni. Tsugumi notices a seal below the map, saying it's from the Lord of the Uesugi, so Kojiro's father may belong from the Uesugi band. All samurai bands who are under the UGI Alliance have a meetup where Princess Michiru is heading to. Somewhere else, Nanao is contacted by a shadowy figure, known as the Obsidian Eight, through the Black Stone. Their plan is to not kill the Kishins so that they can coexist together, and they need to stop the Obsidian Goddess plan. Kojiro says he needs to find out more about his father, and asks the group to head with him to the Harima port where the UGI Alliance meetup is happening. They are excited to go that way. Musashi, Kojiro, and Tsugumi are awestruck by the look of the ships anchored near the ocean of Harima port. They haven't seen the ocean in their lives and go on to play in it, whereas Kojiro wonders which of them is the Uesugi clan. Tsugumi points out the flags of the Uesugi clan and sees their mobile fortress. They move towards the castle to meet the Lord, but the accountant doesn't allow them to enter. He says the Lord is busy preparing for the battle, but Musashi explains that they are Kanamaki band that is under the UGI Alliance, which puts them in more trouble. The accountant, Kanatatsu, orders his guards to take them down. As Musashi is taken down by a samurai Akihiro, he sees a helicopter approaching from the sky. Everyone bows down as the helicopter belongs to someone from the top tier of the Uesugi clan, and it's Naotora making a heroic entrance. Everyone is bowing to him, even Tsugumi, much to Kojiro and Musashi's astonishment. She lets them know that Naotora is actually the captain of the biggest samurai band and is a grand general. Naotora tells Kanatatsu that the band works for him, and the guards let them free. Naotora tries to convince Lord Uesugi to meet the trio. Lord Uesugi lets him know that. A huge, 8-headed green serpent Kishin, known as Yamata no Orochi, has captured Awaji Island along with Yataro Inuda, and wants his help in killing it. Meanwhile, the vice captain and second general of the Takada band let the trio know that the Uesugi clan is currently preparing for a battle against the Serpent Kishin. The Serpent Kishin is actually one of the 4 offspring of the Black Kishin, the first Oni. Musashi jumps over the roof of the castle and incidentally meets the Lord there, unaware of his identity. The Lord shares his feelings to him and tells him not to join the battle as he is too young. Kanatatsu comes there and reveals to the Lord that Musashi is a trespasser. Lord orders to capture Musashi along with his band, when Musashi fails to state his rank. Musashi is put into a different barrack, and Kojiro and Tsugumi are together in a different room. There, Musashi meets other samurai from different bands. 2 samurai come forward introducing themselves. One is Katsumi from Amako Band and Akihiro from Shimazu Squad. They get into an argument and are about to fight and decide who will be the commander of this group. There he meets Michiru too. Musashi learns that whoever wins the fight will be the commander and gets to meet the top tiers of the Uesugi clan and decides to fight the 2 samurai in order to become the commander and know more about Jisai. A 3-way combat starts between Musashi, Akihiro, and Katsumi. Musashi has the upper hand until Akihiro brings out his Kitetsu blade from his shoes, showcasing extraordinary samurai skills to defeat Musashi and Katsumi. Akihiro defeats both of them, but Musashi tries to befriend him. Katsumi still wants to continue fighting, but Musashi stops him. Says the samurai way is to fight together, but Akihiro rejects his offer, humiliating both Musashi and Katsumi. Akihiro takes charge of directing all the bands and leads his Shimazu band to attack first. Musashi goes to meet Kojiro and Tsugumi to see them cooking and bonding with other samurai. The following morning after a meeting with the leaders, Akihiro gives strategy to his team to attack while his own Shimazu band finishes the Kishin. Musashi disagrees with the strategy, but has no other option but to follow his orders. While Musashi is peeling potatoes, another samurai, Kijinosuke Noguchi, comes and bonds with him. Back at the castle, the lords are discussing the strategy and are told by the tactician Kuroko that Kanatatsu will be leading the first team to draw away lesser Oni. As Musashi and Kanatatsu get into an argument, some Oni rise deep from the ocean. Musashi draws his sword and attacks its horns, but he realizes the horns are unbreakable. The Oni start attacking the ships and Musashi is about to be devoured by an Oni. But he is saved by Kanatatsu, who, with a single blow, breaks the horn. He, along with other samurai of the Uesugi band, come in front to hold the Oni as he alone cuts the horns. Below the ocean, Yataro, who is one of the Obsidian 8, has teamed up with the Serpent Kishin and actually planned the attack, is sending the offspring Oni to attack the ships. Kanatatsu ties every horn of the Oni in a single line with his Kitetsu blade and breaks the horns. Akihiro too kills an Oni. Musashi learns from Nojuki that to break the unbreakable horns, one needs to draw energy from other samurai's blades. He realizes that every samurai over there has the same purpose, which is to defeat the Kishins, and he has been selfish so far. Lord Uesugi and Naotora discuss their strategies to defeat the Orochi. Uesugi states that the Obsidian Goddess has been discovered, and if they find him before, they can easily defeat the onus across Hinomoto. Obsidian 8 is also looking for it, and may have sent a spy among the samurai bands, and the Uesugi clan's tactician, Kuroko, is currently looking for it. Musashi is upset that he has limited knowledge about Kitetsu blades and energy sharing and is ridiculed by other samurai. But Katsumi shares his history of being ridiculed at first too, but he should ignore them and tap into his true potential. He comes from UGI Island, before it was taken over by the Green Kishin. As the Shimazu squad gets ready for battle, they notice that one of their members is absent. They realize it is Musashi and are mocked by the Shimazus. But to everyone's surprise, Musashi returns and says he won't go and will just get stronger. He then begins training with Katsumi. Michiru contacts her father, Yataro, who is one of the members of the Obsidian Eight, through her black spikes. He orders her to kill the boy once she finds out under whom the Obsidian Goddess resides. Michiru needs to prove to her father that she isn't as useless as she has always thought to be. She is one of the failed experiments of Yataro and is abandoned until she picks up a Kitetsu blade, impressing him. He believes that she is the only one who can find the Obsidian Goddess. Musashi trains with Katsumi, who teaches him to use the sword's energy. Michiru has second thoughts about killing Musashi, wondering if others never find out about the Obsidian Goddess inside him, they can live together. As Musashi asks Michiru to give him her sword energy, she shares her sword energy, but soon turns both of them into black rocks. Michiru realizes that the stones are reaching out for each other. As they float as a black crystal, other samurai can't stop them with their Kitetsu blades until the tactician Kuroko uses her powerful blade to cage them and bring them down. She says she always was suspicious about Michiru and comes up with a plan and tells that to Lord Wasugi. They hold Musashi captive instead, crucifying him in front of everyone. Kuroko spots Michiru using her black stones, and the Lord gives a rallying call to his troops to be ready to attack the Kishin, that breaking all his 8 horns will successfully kill the Orochi. Shimazu squad prepares for the battle too, but are ordered to stay back in the castle. Yatari lets their leader know that he has found the Obsidian Goddess and has sent someone to kill him. As Musashi is still captive, Michiru comes to his rescue, cutting his ties. Akihiro too comes and pulls his sword towards him, telling him to tell everyone that he doesn't belong to his clan. His only dream has been to lead his band, and he wouldn't let Musashi compromise it. All of a sudden, they see 3 Oni who are somewhat like humans riding on 3 Oni appear in front of them. They have come to get the Obsidian Goddess and call Michiru's sister. They let the secret out that Michiru is actually a spy who was sent to kill him. She sorrowfully accepts the truth. Yatari orders the Onis to kill Musashi, and as one of them rushes towards Musashi, he grabs Michiru's sword and chops her fingers. As they run, the bigger Oni are about to eat Musashi, but Michiru comes in between and is grabbed by the Oni. As she is about to be eaten, Kanatatsu and Kuroko arrive and hurt the Oni. One of the half-demons demands Kuroko hand them over, as they won't leave without the Obsidian Goddess. This fact comes to the attention of Kuroko and the others immediately, and they realize the Obsidian Goddess might be inside one of them. Kuroko binds Michiru's wounds with her sword's power as she tries to befriend Musashi, who instantly gets a crush on her. To everyone's horror, the 2 Oni eat the older Oni to merge to become more large and powerful. Kanatatsu attacks them, but they reflect with their shields. The demons gloat as more of the Oni appear above them, terrorizing the castle and its people. The Uesugi clan starts to attack them, but fails. Yatari gives orders to kill Michiru too. Lord Wasugi arrives with his clan, draws power from their swords, becomes super powerful, and starts attacking the Oni. All the samurai take the form of dragons and cut the horn of the Oni, killing it. As the Lord wonders how they got inside, Shirou appears above him, saying he did it with his Kitetsu blade, and swings it on the Lord. As the other samurai celebrate the defeat of the Oni, Shirou appears in front of them with Lord's sword. Everyone in their disbelief realizes their Lord has been killed, as a pool of blood comes out of his room and his most powerful Kitetsu blade is with Shirou. Every samurai holds Shirou with their swords, using the connection energy, but Shirou somehow breaks their connections. Behind Shirou appears the mastermind of these attacks, Inukawa Shiroku, who too joins Shirou. All the samurai attack the Obsidian duo together, but they are unsuccessful. Shirou goes up to Musashi and a wounded Michiru and escapes with them, using his blade's power to bring something from the UGI Island. It's one of the heads of the Serpent Kishin who appears in the castle. He blows fire from his mouth, destroying half the castle as others run for their lives. Musashi finds himself in a strange place and wonders where he is when Yataro shows up and says that he is in the heart of the island. Yataro's plan is to use the obsidian goddess power to liberate the eastern part of Hinomoto. He asks if Musashi knows what happened to its previous body. Musashi remembers that Jisai was the goddess's previous body. Michiru wakes up and begs her father to leave Musashi after taking the obsidian goddess inside from him. Yataro hugs Michiru, saying she is his favorite daughter and turns her fully into a black rock. Meanwhile, Suroku, Shirou, and Kishin cause much damage to the castle, injuring many and torturing Kanatatsu. Yataro tells Musashi that the Black Rock is her true form. She is an offspring, but isn't a half-demon like others. Yataro again revives her, but erases her memories. As Musashi tries to defeat Yataro, Yataro is much more powerful. As Yataro prepares to give a death blow to Musashi, Michiru brings out her black spikes and stabs him in the back. Shirou's Kitetsu blade power comes to an end, and Musashi is brought back to the castle. Naotora comes to their rescue and goes up against Shirou. Kanatatsu is about to be executed, but Seiroku is pulled back to the island and promises he will kill him next time. Musashi wakes up in the medical room, and he is greeted by Tsugumi and Kojiro. They tell him that most of the samurai left the battlefield, and Kanatatsu asks Musashi's help as they need the power of the obsidian goddess. Kanatatsu takes Musashi, Kojiro, and Tsugumi through an underground staircase. Tsugumi lets Musashi know that she fetched his Kitetsu blade. Kanatatsu takes them inside a crypt and shows them all the ancient history regarding the obsidian goddess and the Uesugi clan. A long time ago, when the Oni became too powerful for humans to defeat, the obsidian goddess herself provided humanity with a Kitetsu blade as an instrument for defeating the Oni. She has been residing inside a human body ever since, and currently, she is inside Musashi. Kanatatsu brings an ancient treasure chest and states it has the key to unleashing the goddess's power and recovering unity in Hinomoto. Musashi asks if he can defeat the evil samurai, and Kanatatsu reveals the history of the Obsidian Eight, a group of evil samurai who wield Kitetsu blades and have been hunting good samurai for centuries. Musashi says he will do whatever Kanatatsu asks him to do, as he is grateful to him for teaching him samurai tactics. Musashi finds a blood-filled goblet and with some hesitation drinks it, but nothing happens. In the meantime, Kuroko devises strategies to kill the Kishin, rescue the Lord, and defeat the Obsidian Eight. But Obsidian Eight hears her plans through another spy samurai, and they reveal that their plan is to feed Dark Oni with the minerals absorbed by the Serpent Kishin. Musashi meets Katsumi and learns about the plan of attack from him. He calls every samurai by their name and says that only together they can defeat the Obsidian Eight. Naotora raises his queries about the strategy with Kuroko. He says they should focus on only one objective, as they are low on samurai. Shirou and Suroku relieve Yataro of his tasks, as he has failed to kill Musashi. The first team ignites oil to create a diversion during the initial action. Kuroko knew that spies might be hiding among them, so she sent Musashi, Katsumi, and Akihiro, along with the Shimazu squad, to destroy Kishin's source of minerals at the Yura mine. They face another Oni, whom Akihiro easily defeats. At the mine, the band plants explosives to destroy it, but suddenly Shirou shows up and, using his power, drops those explosives on the Takada band's ships, blowing them. Seiroku meets Kuroko through his spy and gloats about how her plans went into despair. But soon, she learns Naotora survived, as she intentionally gave them the wrong information to catch them. Kanatatsu sneakily attacks him and they engage in a duel. While having a challenging duel, Kanatatsu remembers Lord Uesugi giving him the responsibility to protect every clan, his defeat against Suroku, and finally being able to smash Suroku's Kitetsu blade, affecting the curse that stopped the blade's energies from connecting. Kuroko lets the third team know that the curse is broken, and now they can move to Awaji Island and break the Kishin's horns. Suroku draws out his second sword and prepares to kill Kanatatsu. But to kill the Kishin, the clans have to defeat the 3 Obsidian 8 members first. Roku is ready to attack Kanatatsu, and Shirou is prepared to take down Naotora, leaving the 3rd member for Musashi to handle. Roku engages in a battle against Kanatatsu and manages to cut Kanatatsu's leg using special tricks and turn him blind temporarily. He goes on to torture Kanatatsu more by dislocating his knees and breaking his fingers. He gives Kanatatsu his sights back, taunting him to see his comrades fall. Kanatatsu stands up and fixes his fractures with the help of his blade's power and cuts the strings, damaging his body. Roku rapidly slashes Kanatatsu's body, and as he is about to kill Kanatatsu, 2 Uesugi samurai come in front of him to save him. Kanatatsu instead lifts his hand first, getting stabbed in the process. But this provides him a chance to grab Suroku's blade and stab him in the chest, slaying him. Naotora focuses on battling with Shirou, while imprisoned inside a shield by Takada band. However, Shirou breaks down the shield and takes them to a watery cube using his sword. However, Naotora breaks it while he isn't pleased with Shirou's power so far. Naotora hits Shirou with all of his power, but he redirects the attacks back on himself. With a white aura surrounding him, Shirou reveals his actual color, which is the color that belongs to the most powerful samurai. Naotora confronts Shirou despite his attempts to discredit him by claiming that the blue samurai is among the most common samurai he has met. The 2 of them fight each other viciously. From a distance, Kojiro and Tsugumi see the conflict and wait with their team to advance in order to save Lord Uesugi. Shirou brings volcanic lava to the ground and pours it on Naotora, but he utilizes the power of his sword to dump water on it, astounding Shirou. Aoshi, one of the members from Takada band, states that blue stones, though common, have the power somewhat akin to the Kishin. Naotora creates fire and water tigers to attack Shirou, who says this power belongs to Kishin. Shirou easily defeats them and transports them elsewhere. Naotora, using fire and water again, starts making small balls and turns them into blades unnoticed by Shirou. Naotora reveals that someone like Shirou's color was responsible for killing many of his brothers and has been practicing this technique since then. Shirou too wonders if he could do that, but before even trying, Naotora finally defeats Shirou by cutting him those blades, causing him to explode and shattering his blade. Meanwhile, Musashi is moving forward towards Kishin's location, but is asked to stay out by Akihiro as his group is weak and uncoordinated. Musashi doubts for himself how he can defeat Yataro after their last fight, but comes up with the idea that he could draw energy from other samurai's blades. But soon, an Oni appears, and Katsumi kills it and takes leadership of the team left behind. They, along with Musashi, kill some more Oni. They reach Yataro's known location but find him missing. Instead, he took Michiru along with him deep into the island. Michiru's memories are fuzzy as Yataro reveals more of his abandoned daughters. Katsumi tells Musashi that whoever breaks Kishin's horn will go down in history, and that's the only point of interest for Akihiro. Musashi appreciates every samurai present there, saying they all inspired him to become a better samurai, and fighting together would be an honor for him. They finally face Yataro, who uses his all-daughters' power to become a massive Kishin, much to their horror. Yataro has turned his daughters into Kitetsu blades and attacked the advancing samurai, instantly killing them. The Shimazu squad stands there as Katsumi shivers in fear. But Akihiro locates the horn of the Yataro Kishin and moves forward to attack it. They all try to connect their blade's energy, but Yataro keeps attacking them with his blade's beams. As Yataro is about to kill Haruhisa, Musashi comes in and saves him. Musashi decides to help them in spite of Katsumi's warning. Musashi breaks Yataro's Kitetsu blades in order for Akihiro and his team to connect their blades. The Shimazu squad is grappling to form the chain link as the blade's beams have created a wall between them. But suddenly, the wall is getting thinner as Musashi is breaking every sword above it. Yataro beats down Musashi, but he stands up again to help the team. One of the Shimazu squad members is thrown away and is about to be killed. But Musashi saves him too and says to go and form the chain with his brothers as they need him. As the team connects their blades, with Musashi's help, they are finally able to break the horn. Kanatatsu learns about the defeat of Yataro and plans to move forward with the plan to attack the Serpent Kishin. But they are shocked to see that the horn doesn't have any kitetsu, and Yataro has turned himself into a white serpent, transporting the minerals to the Kishin. The strategy was to attack the Serpent Kishin when it doesn't have any food supply. The samurai tries to attack it, but it shields their attack. The Shimazu squad, along with Musashi, tries to come up with a plan to form an 8-link chain with Musashi. Akihiro doesn't like the idea, but Haruhisa accuses Akihiro of only caring about himself and wanting glory. Akihiro says they are nothing more than a pawn, and Haruhisa punches him. They try to form a chain link with Musashi instead. As they form the chain, Musashi is asked to break the horn. Akihiro pushes Musashi and takes his position. Everyone is angry at Akihiro for being selfish, but Musashi apologizes to Akihiro. Akihiro says Musashi never wanted to take command of the squad anyway. Akihiro comes in between the chain energy and draws the power to attack the Serpent. Other Shimizu squad members, who are actually brothers of Akihiro, wonder why Akihiro is obsessed with breaking the horn. Akihiro was a friendly kid who loved his brothers, especially Haruhisa. But everything changed on their sword trial day. During that event, Akihiro passes with a red soul, while all of his brothers pass with a blue soul. Their father forcefully makes Akihiro his successor and the leader of the Shimazu clan. When he disagrees and says Haruhisa is much more deserving, he makes both of them fight. Akihiro is victorious. Since then, Akihiro has been leading the squad, getting better than his father, and his brothers started to become jealous of him. Presently, the Serpent isn't stopping, and Akihiro orders his squad to link together to hold it down. The squad reluctantly teams up with Akihiro to kill the White Serpent, who is still providing minerals to the Serpent Kishin. Akihiro orders the squad to connect the sword's energy, and alone, he heads forward to break its horn. But he soon realizes he has come in front of one of the heads of the Serpent Kishin. The Kishin is gulping the minerals, which are its food source, and Akihiro too is ready to sacrifice himself to kill the White Serpent and save his brothers. Musashi convinces Haruhisa to go and save his younger brother, as Akihiro is doing this all to protect them, and if he dies, Haruhisa will be responsible. As Akihiro is incapacitated by the Serpent, but wakes up to see Haruhisa is now attacking the Serpent. Akihiro acknowledges that he wasn't looking for glory, but actually wanted to save his brothers. But all the brothers forgive Akihiro and team up with him to take down the White Serpent. Akihiro, uplifted by his brothers, finally breaks the horn of the White Serpent, killing him and cutting the Kishin's food source. As it is powerless without a food source, the samurai under Kanatatsu's order finally breaks every horn of the Serpent Kishin, finally killing him. Haruhisa tells Akihiro that he is the leader because he always has been the best in the band, and now they will go down in history because of him. Akihiro apologizes to Musashi, and Kojiro and Tsugumi move along with their squad to rescue Lord Uesugi. The samurai celebrate their victory against the Serpent Kishin, soaking up the kitetsu with their sword. But they realize their blades aren't soaking the kitetsu but are going somewhere else. Tsugumi and Kojiro fight another Oni defending the cave, as many black rocks mount up the island. Kanatatsu, in his heavily injured condition, tries to go inside to help rescue Lord Uesugi. But Musashi stops him and goes himself. But not long after he sees Kojiro, Tsugumi comes out of the cave and has successfully rescued Lord Uesugi. Kanatatsu is overjoyed to see Lord Uesugi. Lord Uesugi calls for Musashi and says that when he was held captive, Michiru was talking about him and how he made her feel important and worthy. Musashi runs for Michiru's rescue, and all the other samurai follow him. They come across a black sword floating there. Beside that rises a shadowy figure. They are shocked to find out that it's Yataro. He gloats that he has already merged himself with Serpent Kishin. Hence, the ones they killed were empty shells. He has also turned Michiru into that black kitetsu blade, something the Obsidian 8 were always experimenting on if they never found out about the Obsidian Goddess. He exhibits his power over the samurai, killing many of them. As Musashi attacks, Michiru starts drawing his energy. Yataro, using the blade, draws every other samurai's energy, making Michiru to an obsidian goddess. The samurai, wounded, tries to come up with a plan, but Yataro is too strong for them, killing many more. As Musashi is about to attack Yataro, he freezes, and Michiru contacts Musashi. She is conflicted with her memories and can't remember anything from past events. But Yataro, seeing them connecting, raises his sword to attack again. But Naotora shields Musashi. Naotora lets Lord Wasugi know that the original obsidian goddess is inside Musashi. Yataro again attacks every other remaining samurai and is about to attack Musashi, but Kojiro comes to defend him. But suddenly, time freezes, and Musashi sees a portal opening. He goes inside to find himself and Michiru as a baby, where she shows him her past and all she craved was for someone to notice her. She reconnects with Musashi again and confesses her feelings to him. She also lets him know that the black stone inside Yataro is what turned her into a weapon and asks him to destroy it. She says that he never loved her and rejected him, which made her hate him more, but Yataro says that she reminded him of himself when he was rejected too. But she says she loves him because he is her father. He releases her from the Kitetsu blade while breaking the black stone, dying in the process. After 2 weeks, most of the samurai are recovering from the battle, including Katsumi. Musashi brings him his meal and thanks him for being a good teacher. Michiru is confined while Lord Wasugi discusses with Naotora why the Obsidian 8 left him alive. A ritual takes place where the brave samurai who defeated the Oni are presented with awards. Musashi, Kojiro, and Tsugumi too are enjoying their meal together. The day arrives when all the samurai now have to go back to their respective places. Kojiro inquires about his father to Lord Wasugi, but he apologizes, saying he doesn't remember anyone named Jisai, but promises Kojiro that he will find out about him from other clans. When Kojiro asks why he would go to such an extent to help him, the Lord says because Kojiro saved him and also because Musashi requested it too. Before, the Lord asked Musashi to drink all the blood from the goblet of the obsidian goddess, to which he agreed but gave 2 conditions. The first is to inquire about Jisai, and the second is to let Michiru be free from their detention. Musashi takes Michiru out for a day and takes her on a trip to the town. Also, he narrates to her all the things she missed, like the Shimizu squad being free to act on their own, Kanatatsu and Naotora being rewarded, and he being asked to join Lord Wasugi's band. But he refused, as he has his own band with Kojiro and Tsugumi. He names the squad Kanamaki Band officially, and becomes an ally to the Wasugi clan. Musashi buys a ring for Michiru in the market. Both walk through the forest, where Michiru regrets not being a normal human. Before a beautiful sunset, a sorrowful Michiru thanks Musashi for being kind to her and bids her farewell. She slowly breaks and fades away in the air, only leaving her sword. Musashi grieves, picking up her sword, wondering why anyone would create a human like Michiru only to die that way. He affirms to himself that he will get the answers. Every samurai bids farewell to each other. Kanatatsu apologizes to Lord Wasugi for not killing the threat. Wasugi says Kanatatsu and Naotora are exactly the same, and even if they kill one member, there is always a replacement in Obsidian 8. Katsumi, meanwhile, is captured by the Obsidian 8. Musashi, along with his band, is ready for their more unknown adventure and rides on their bike.